In the dark corners of medieval Europe, back when life meant choosing between hunger, obedience, or death, a story took shape. A story that later became a fairy tale for kids after being drowned in sugar, softened, and bleached of meaning. We know it today as Cinderella, but the Mickey Mouse version is nothing more than a cosmetic corpse stitched over a nightmare. And if you appreciate deep dives into forgotten truths, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. It costs nothing, but it truly supports this work. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching, your city, and your time. I want to see this circle of night watchers across the world in real time. Tonight, we journey not through magic pumpkins and fairy sparkles, but through ancient blood rituals, class warfare, supernatural bargains, and the brutal cost of transformation. Cinderella wasn't originally about love or wishes. It was about survival through sacrifice. Before Cinderella existed, long before anyone wrote down a version of this story, the ancient peoples of Europe told it in whispered oral traditions, stories not for children, but for adults and never meant for comfort. In these earliest versions, the girl wasn't a helpless victim, she was a participant in her metamorphosis. Transforming oneself required sacrifice, sometimes literal, sometimes symbolic, sometimes both. The mother figure wasn't a kindly ghost, she was a supernatural matriarch whose remains enabled transformation. In some variants, the daughter consumed symbolic parts of her, not necessarily physically, but as a ritual of inheritance. The heart for courage, the mind for cunning, the hands for craft, the tongue for persuasive speech. These are echoes of initiation rites, psychological death of the old self, rebirth of the new. The stepsisters weren't just mean. They were examples of transformation attempted incorrectly. They tried to cheat the ritual, and their twisted forms symbolized failure of preparation. This isn't a children's tale. This is a manual on becoming something new, even if that new self had claws instead of fingers. Italy's violent Renaissance revision. Fast forward to 17th century Naples. Basille's version, the first fully written Cinderella, is brutal, strategic, and psychological. Here the young 𝘉𝑍𝑒𝑒𝑙 doesn't merely suffer. She acts. She plots. She engineers her stepmother's death, not as a murder of rage, but as a calculated act of survival. Her tears falling on her mother's grave grow a magical tree, a symbol not of random magic, but of transformation through grief. The fairy-like figure in this version is no sparkly wand waver. She is pragmatic, transactional. She grants not just a dress, but knowledge, etiquette, diplomacy, presence, poise. The supernatural tools are conscious, almost alive, responding to her will and emotional state. In Basille's version, the prince isn't enchanted by beauty alone. He is drawn to competence, mystery, and the air of hidden power. And when the stepsisters mutilate themselves to force the slipper, their pain is the real price of false transformation. It's not horror for shock, it's a warning. You can fake the external, but your spirit will reveal the truth. France rewrites the game. Enter Versailles. Here, Perrault transforms the tale, not to soften it, but to disguise it. He creates the illusion of innocence with elegant prose. Cinderella, Cendralyn, becomes gentle, patient, heartbreakingly kind. But this isn't passivity, this is political camouflage. In a court where missteps equal exile or execution, survival depends on emotional control. Cendralyn's sweetness is strategic. Her goodness is her weapon. The fairy godmother? She only appears when Cinderella has psychologically earned that transformation. The pumpkin becomes a coach not because magic is whimsical, but because illusion is power. The glass slipper? Not merely fragile, but transparent. It cannot hide. You either fit it or you don't. And the stepsister's punishment is not execution, but dependence. Cinderella arranges marriages for them, placing them beneath her socially, forever. True power is not revenge. It's becoming the person they must now respect. Germany restores the darkness. The brothers Grimm collect a harsher version, one closer to ancient memory. Aschenputtel doesn't rely on a godmother, but on the spirit of her mother speaking from a tree grown from love and grief. The three nights at the royal ball are ritual tests: expression and presentation, intellect and judgment, moral character and leadership. When the stepsisters slice off flesh to force the slipper, ravens reveal the truth. Turn back, blood on the path. And their final punishment? Their eyes are pecked out, not randomly, but symbolically. They saw goodness and responded with cruelty, so they lose the eyes that betrayed them. Justice is not kind. Justice is fair. The Irish version. Here Cinderella enters not magical wish granting, but contractual spiritual agreement. The fairy helper isn't a motherly figure, but an entity of another realm who enters long-term spiritual exchange. The dress, the shoes, they are not mere objects. they are living contracts. And the true price may be paid not by Cinderella alone, but by descendants. Power has memory. The Norse variant. In Scandinavia, Cinderella receives aid from a winter goddess of ice and stars. Her garments shimmer like northern lights. Her shoes are carved from frozen moonlight. But this blessing comes with a cost. Those touched by winter magic can never fully feel warmth again. To gain power of the cold, one sacrifices a part of human softness. The English realism. Here, the magic fades away entirely. Cinderella rises not through spells, but through observation, discipline, strategic social performance. She learns how to become aristocracy so well that even aristocrats believe it. Magic is replaced by intelligence. Why the fairy tale survived. The Disney version comforts. The ancient version's challenge. The modern story says, goodness is rewarded. The old stories whisper, transformation requires cost. And maybe that's why the story still haunts humanity. We know, deep down, that to become someone new, we must bury someone old. If tonight revealed something you never knew about Cinderella, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Which version surprised you most? Italy's violence? Germany's punishment? Ireland's contracts? Or Scandinavia's cold? Next week, we go deeper, much deeper. And trust me, what's coming will make tonight feel like a bedtime lullaby. Good night, and don't lose your shoes.